In the Syrian desert, a small group of vampires explore what they believe to be the ancient grave of the first vampire, Dracula, also known as Drake. They set Blade up for the killing of a human familiar in order to prevent him from meddling. After that, FBI agents track down Blade's hiding place and murder Blade's friend and mentor, Abraham Whistler. Blade gives up and is taken into custody, demoralized. Blade will be turned over to the authorities by arrangement made by the familiars of the vampires. Blade is saved by Abraham's daughter Abigail Whistler and Hannibal King, who then extends an invitation to Blade to become a member of their vampire hunting group, the Night Stalkers. Blade finds out from them that Drake was brought back to life by Danica Talos, an old rival of King, with the intention of using his abilities to cure vampires of their flaws. Drake is unique among vampires in that he can endure sunlight. In addition to their recently developed ultraviolet sun dog ammunition, the Night Stalkers have developed Daystar, an experimental bioweapon that has the ability to eradicate vampires genetically. But for it to work, they need a purer blood source. They expect that the virus will kill Drake since he is too strong to be eliminated naturally, and that his blood will ensure that the rest of the species perishes, but they also worry that Blade will be among them. Drake separates Blade from the Night Stalkers in an attempt to test him. He announces his intention to eradicate vampires and all humans from Earth since, in his opinion, they are inferior. Abigail discovers proof of the vampires' schemes to enslave people, a system of blood farms where brain-dead people have their blood extracted so that vampires can consume it. After turning off the farm's life support, Blade kills the recognizable police officer who had been gathering people for the vampires. When Abigail and Blade return to the Night Stalkers' stronghold, they discover that everyone has died except for King and Zoe, the daughter of Daystar's founder, who have both been held prisoner. All that's required to make it whole and functional is Drake's blood, according to a recording Sommerfield left behind. The vampires torture King in an attempt to get information, but he won't speak up, not even when they threaten to transform him into a vampire and make him drink Zoe's blood. After arriving, Blade and Abigail release the prisoners. After ultimately defeating Blade in battle, Drake is ready to slay him with his own blade. The Daystar arrow is fired by Abigail, but Drake catches it before it reaches him. Ignorant of the threat it poses to him, he drops it on the floor next to Blade. Drake is wounded as Abigail shoots him with a second arrow. Blade completes the Daystar virus by stabbing Drake with the Daystar arrow while he is distracted. This causes a chemical reaction that releases the virus into the air. Danica and the other vampires are killed when the infection spreads through the air. Blade fights honorably, and Drake acknowledges that Blade represents the future of the vampire race, but he also warns Blade that he will eventually give in to his bloodlust. Drake eventually succumbs to his wounds and the virus. With all of his remaining energy, Drake transforms into Blade. The body is found by the FBI, but as soon as the autopsy is underway, it returns to the dead Drake. According to King's narration, Blade was given the opportunity to flee thanks to Drake's last metamorphosis, which freed him up to go on his never-ending conflict with evil forces.